How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this time it's a story in the Daily Mail or the Mail Online. Headline reads, prison violence at unprecedented high as a number of attacks by inmates on officers soars by 300 in just 12 months. 1,838 recorded incidents of physical assaults in 2017 compared to 1,529 in 2016. Yorkshire had one of the biggest rises with 380 incidents in 2016 and 542 last year. In London and Thames Valley, it rose from 695 attacks in 2016 to 884 a year later. Unions say these levels of violence against prison officers are at unprecedented levels. Smoking ban, on top of other things, treatment conditions, mental health. The number of attacks by inmates on prison officers has soared across Britain, it was revealed today. There were a total of 1,838 recorded incidents of physical assaults in 2017 compared to 1,529 in 2016. According to a Freedom of Information request, the region with one of the highest rises was Yorkshire, with 380 incidents in jails in 2016 compared to 542 last year. In London and Thames Valley, it rose from 695 attacks in 2016 to 884 a year later. There was 522 assaults last year in the southwest compared to 423 in 2016. Last year, inmate Sadiq Ghori had his sentence extended for attacking a prison officer while under the influence of spice at Channing Woods Prison in Devon. In Wales, 180 were recorded by prison bosses in 2017 compared to 132 in 2016. There was an increase of 192 in 2016 to 208 in 2017 in women's prisons, according to the Ministry of Justice statistics. Out of 11 regions of the country, attacks have risen in 9 of them, the Ministry of Justice data showed. Mark Fairhurst, National Chair of the Professional Trade Union for Prisons, Correctional and Secure Psychiatric Workers. That is such a shoddy written article. Mark Fairhurst is the National Chair of the Prison Officers Association, but apparently here it's the Prison Correctional and Secure Psychiatric Workers in brackets POA. No, he's the acting National Chair of the Prison Officers Association. Said levels of violence against prison officers are at unprecedented levels and show no signs of diminishing. The POA are pleased that PAVA incapacitant spray will be issued to frontline staff to enable them to keep themselves and prisoners safe. He doesn't care 2 bits about prisoners. We need to ensure that perpetrators of assaults are fully prosecuted and those staff who receive life-changing injuries both physically and mentally are cared for appropriately. The alarming figures also showed in the East Midlands. The figure increased from 102 in 2016 to 112 in the following 12 months. In Tees and Wear, the number was 132 last year compared to 93 in the previous year. The number rocketed to 259 in 2017 in Kent and Essex compared to 204 in 2016. In long-term and high-security jails, the increase was from 465 in 2016 to 707 last year. The number increased from 540 to 695 in the Midlands and rose from 317 cases in 2016 compared to 285 the following year in the Northwest. In October, a prison officer was left unconscious after being strangled by an inmate. He was one of 2 officers assaulted in separate attacks at HMP Lindholme in Doncaster, South Yorkshire. Following the attacks, staff refused to go back into the Category C jail and staged a protest. Between 2010 and 2015, the prison service lost a quarter of its budget and nearly 30% of its staff. Ministers passed their target in April to recruit 2,500 new prison officers, but the number of middle-ranking prison officers who left in the year to June was up 10% on the previous 12 months. A Ministry of Justice spokesman said assaults on our hard-working staff will not be tolerated. We are ensuring prison officers have the tools they need to do the job, rolling out body-worn cameras, police-style handcuffs and restraints, and trialling PAVA spray. Our recruitment drive is vital to ensuring prisons are safe, secure and decent so they can be successfully rehabilitate offenders. Rehabilitation doesn't take place in prison. And 90% of our additional 3,111 prison officers are due to be on the landings by the summer. In August, Prisons Minister Rory Stewart vowed to quit in 12 months if the crackdown on drugs and violence in Britain's 10 worst jails had not worked. Mr. Stewart staked his job on the success of a drive for the governors to be given military-style training on how to tackle disruptive behaviour. Millions of pounds is being spent on body-worn cameras and sniffer dogs to spot hidden packages of drugs. Prison officers are bringing them in as well. A report in July by Peter Clark, the Chief Inspectors of Prisons, said jails were rife with violence, drugs, suicide, self-harm, overcrowding and squalor. Also revealed that a shockingly high 1 in 7 inmates became hooked on drugs whilst behind bars. And in September, a prison protest by staff over violence and safety concerns were called off by their union after the government agreed to drop the threat of court action. The walkout was triggered by a damning report which warned a dangerous lack of control at HMP Bedford. Around 50 officers stood outside the prisons with members calling for other colleagues. One's colleague's arm was broken with a pool cue while another had his head stamped on. No mention, guys, of the at Wetherby Young Offenders Institute, 2 prison officers who give a prisoner a kick-in who were jailed. No mention of that. They collate prisoner-to-prisoner assaults. They collate prisoner-to-prison officer assaults. Guess what they don't collate, guys? Yeah, that's the right. Prison officers to prisoners, right? Because apparently that doesn't take place. Body-worn cameras. Parva spray was piloted and is going to be rolled out in 2019 to publicly run prisons, right? Rigid bar handcuffs, they've got coshes, extendable batons have come in, body-worn cameras, I think I've alluded to that, more sniffer dogs, do you know what I mean? Oh, and they get control and restraint training, you know what I mean? They lobbied for the smoking ban, which has contributed to record levels that we've seen of violence in our prisons. Now, the reason that it's going on about 2016 to 2017 is because they do it annually. The safer in custody statistics and stuff. The reality is the smoking ban has played all the hell with the prison system. They lobbied for the smoking ban, but knew that it would antagonise prisoners. They've used that, prisoners biting back. So they antagonise and poke prisoners with a stick. Then when prisoners retaliate, oh look, violent thug, violent criminal. That's how it works, guys. The smoking ban has become, by bringing in smoking, you might think, why is that relevant? By bringing smoking ban in, it pushes tobacco into contraband, which means the price can go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times what it is on the street. That incurs debt. Where you've got debt, yes, you've guessed it, you've got fear, intimidation, bullying and violence. It doesn't surprise me, all the figures, guys, that violence is going to continue to rise in prisons by arming prison officers with Parva spray, which is coming in a few weeks, with rigid bar handcuffs. Not going to decrease violence, it will see an increase in violence. Because if you fight fire with fire, it's going to go up. It doesn't go down, it goes up. That's just my opinion, guys. I stick with it. Let me know what you think about the story. I think that obviously you've got to look at different reasons why violence is increased in prisons. Mental health is massive. Debt is massive. Obviously, contraband incurs debt. Where you got debt, you got fear, intimidation, bullying, and violence. Smoking ban, conditions, treatment of prisoners, mentally ill prisoners. The list goes on. Brutalised prisoners doesn't aid rehabilitation, nor does it act as a deterrent. It just makes you dehumanised, desensitised, demoralised, and even more disenfranchised than when you enter the system, and it can create monsters. But what do I know? I'm just an ex-com. No one listens to people like me. Let me know what you think about the story, guys. Link in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.